Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So Cryptic Studios actually went and did it. I had requested that they, give somewhat of a compensation for those of us who went and upgraded the Symbol of Water artifact, as there was no real choice when you went and decided which one to pick and upgrade, because this had a whopping 37.5% stamina regen. You kind of had to take that one. And many of us did, on the gamble that it would stay that way, or at least be higher than 15% than, say, other stamina regen artifacts. They decided they're going to rebalance all of them, regardless of item level, to have 15%. And that's just that. The Mythilar did get a bit of a buff then, going from 12% to 15%, which is nice. But yeah, a drastic nerf to the Symbol of Water, which many of you would have obtained and upgraded. And it was a once-off kind of thing. You got the pack from the Battle Pass, you chose what you wanted, and that's it. You were locked out from obtaining the other ones, unless you wanted to buy them from other players, which I'm not actually sure is fully intended. So what Cryptic Studios have very nicely gone and done is added compensation. And they've given us all a free pack with the ability to obtain a different artifact, along with a little bit of a reimbursement on said refinement items we might have used to upgrade it. Not the full amount, but at least it's something. And highly appreciate the ability to choose a different one if we want to do so. So again, that gives us this mail, which gives us this pack to choose any of these, or simply this upgrade choice pack, and then we get 2 of these packs which just give us all of this. Be aware what character you open it on, because you obtain the refinement on that one character, but to be honest that's not much. The glyphs are bound to account, the enchanting stones are bound to account, and then the other pack, the legendary one we obtain here, is a choice pack of what you want from here. I would generally go with the epic enchanting stones unless you miss a lot of legendary enchanting stones. Those are actually getting rarer. I mean, I still have to sell a few stacks of them, as I haven't been bothered so far, and I'm sure other people have the same, but yeah, they're getting rarer and rarer in the game as they don't drop. You have to get them from events and things. But again, this choice pack, very nice. You obtain any one of those again, so let's just run you quickly through which one should you choose. I have them all here in Mythic: the fire, the air, the earth, and the water. And well, if we just look at their stats, you can see fire is going to give power, defense, and accuracy. Air is going to give power, crit avoidance, and accuracy. Earth is going to give max HP, crit severity, and control resistance. And water is crit strike, deflection, and stamina regen. So if you were, say, a damage dealer, wanted to maximize your offensive stats, then you're left between choosing fire and air, because they have the most offensive stats. Power, accuracy, power, accuracy. Now if you're a healer, well, you don't want the accuracy, so you're left with just choosing pretty much any of them, as you're only going to get one favorable stat, like power, crit severity, or crit strike. So I just take the Symbol of Water because you get a bonus stamina regen, which is going to help everybody anyway. And as a tank, it's a no-brainer, the Symbol of Water for the stamina regen. And to be honest, as a damage dealer, I would also just go with the Symbol of Water, which just leaves it at, yeah, that was the one you probably should have chosen anyway. But nonetheless, maybe you wanted to choose one of the other ones just for the thematics of it. Say you're creating a character that orientates around a certain element. Let's have a look at how well do those, say, artifacts perform against a group of enemies. They all do have somewhat of multi-target effects. Now in my previous video, I did underestimate the Symbol of Fire. It's actually a bit better than I thought it would be. Basically, you're going to go to your group of enemies, you want to get them tightly grouped up, and you're going to cast the Symbol of Fire aiming at one of them. What happens here then is that the fire is going to spread between them, and you need to cast it again before you let the 6 seconds pass. Because if you don't cast it again, you end up with the least amount of damage. You can read the tooltip and it explains that, but it deals a decent amount of damage. We could check here, Symbol of Fire, 440,000 damage. And that's in scaled content right here, down to 24,000. Let's check the other artifacts. We have the symbol of air. That's supposed to let us rush forward, deal some damage, and give us some movement speed. Again, let's group up the enemies a little bit. Let's go and cast it. We dealt some damage to maybe one of them. That might have been because they were too close to me, but we did gain a little bit of a speed boost. You'd maybe use it to get past enemies, I guess, and to keep running for, say, speedrun strats. But that, yeah, only hit one guy for like 70,000. So not exactly that easy to get damage via it, and I wouldn't really use it for that. And then Earth should have some nice crowd control effects, knocking enemies twice. So again, let's group them. Then let's go and cast it here. We can see puts down the pillar, knocks them back, and then knocks them up. So pretty neat. But ultimately, not a whole lot of damage, 130,000. And then the symbol of water should group up enemies. So let's just, first of all, have them make sure we can get them all in the area. There you go. You get a bit of a whirlpool. They're sucked into the middle, get knocked up. So very similar to like the legendary flying carpet. And ultimately, if we compare the damage of all of them, well, let's make sure we have a look at, say, crit rate. And definitely the symbol of fire is outputting the most, followed by water, then earth, and potentially air can do better. It's just harder to actually hit the enemies. So ultimately, if I didn't have any of them, I would just still choose the symbol of water. It is the only 1500 item level artifact that has stamina regen. Therefore, it is basically best of slot for tanks and still very good for damage dealers and healers who want that extra bit of stamina regen. And that can be very useful to use your dodges, shift abilities. Also, using it as a multi-target attack is very nice with its little whirlpool, helping to group up enemies. And it's not the worst one you could use in multi-target. But otherwise, of course, if you want to min-max just in terms of raw damage stats, yeah, you could go with the symbol of fire with the power, defense, and accuracy. But there are just better ones out there for that, like your Crystal, Marco's, Meteor Swarm. All of these have good, favorable damage stats. And then you just want to run a primary one that's going to support the team with a debuff. So usually it doesn't matter other than some of the top ones from the list, ideally you already have in your group. Now you should be able to unbind the artifacts like we have done, but I'm just going to check if you still can, particularly from the new choice pack. If we go and open that there and say, take the symbol of water, can we unbind it? We can still go ahead and do so. So they didn't remove that ability, which is a relief. And ultimately, that's very nice. A bit of compensation for, their change. And it's good to see that they actually seem to care somewhat for that. Because it was a bit of a bad feeling that, most of us would have chosen the water one because it was the only real good choice there. And who knows if it was going to stay that way or not. The devs didn't exactly say anything until weeks later came along and decided they're going to rebalance it. Ultimately, thank you again, Cryptic, for actually providing us some compensation for that. Much appreciated. A massive thank you again to all of these channel members for your added support. And we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.